Very warm welcome. Good morning, everyone. This is the fourth day of the Light and Building here at the Design Plaza. And I would like to continue in some way Jürgen Waldorf's presentation. So my presentation is about lamp bans, or if you realize that the lighting installation, for example, is not state-of-the-art anymore, what are your options? And what should you do, ideally? My name is Jan Eisleben. I've been working for Radium for 23 years, and I'm responsible for marketing and sales there at Radium. I'm in love with lighting technology, so I think this is a great platform for me to talk about what I really like, what I really love. I'm also a member of the working group Light. Radium has been a member for a couple of years already, and I am new in the team, so the team is growing. This is always great to see, and I already saw some of my team members here. Very warm welcome to you as well. Let's get started with my presentation. Pictures like that are pictures that we all know, because most of you who are experts for lighting look around first and they try to see what's installed in a room. That is something that we all do who work in the field of lighting. So this might hurt your neck at some point, but this is what we usually do whenever we enter a room or in a certain area. So the train stations might be a bit even emptier than we can see on the picture right now. But what you can see here are lighting installations that are available in the market. So low-pressure lightings are the most popular ones in the market. We assume that 80 million of them are used all over Germany, and they have to be replaced now. We still got some fluorescent lamps entering the market last year. We saw them entering the market last year, and this is what we also realized as manufacturers. There are many customers who tried to buy as many fluorescent lamps as possible because they were afraid of what's coming next. So whether they will be able to maintain their lighting installations in 2 or 3 years. And fit for the future is actually not the best formulation anymore. We actually have to change that slogan. We have to ask ourselves whether our lighting installation is still ready or suitable for the present. And how fast do we have to act? How fast do we have to modernize them? So the impulses are clear. Lamp bans, we already mentioned that, but this is not the only thing that should encourage us to change our lighting system, to modernize it. Sustainability, it's about energy costs, it's about light quality, and also maintenance costs. Maintenance costs is an important topic as well, because this is a huge trigger that should encourage you to think about whether you have to modernize your lighting installation or not, or whether you should do this or not. This sums up Dr. Jürgen Waldorf's presentation. The 2 most important regulations and also the link to the light.de website, licht.de website. I also added a QR code, so if you want more information than you can find on this slide, feel free to follow the QR code. Licht.de is the most important platform for our industry marketing, so a lot of information is available on that platform. The 2 core targets are clear. We want to save energy, we want to achieve the climate targets, and we want to replace mercury. Those are the 2 guidelines. This is also the main target of the 2 guidelines, of the 2 regulations that you can see here listed on the slide. What is going to happen in the future with the high-pressure discharge lamps? Well, we don't know about the future of these lighting types, but we will have to wait and see what the future brings. And there are a few steps that we have to follow when we talk about modernization. A few things that they have to keep in mind. We are working on the new renovation booklet, so where we describe the whole retrofitting and modernization of lighting installations in detail, in greater detail. So this is what's important in this context. You have to do a stock taking and an analysis. So this would be step 1. And here we have a couple of points that we have to find out first in order to decide as customers or manufacturers what is the most suitable solution for you or for this respective area or room. So there might be many people who claim that their retrofitting solution is the best, but we all know that this is not possible because the lighting installations are completely different. They are so diverse. There are many aspects that you have to keep in mind. It's about energy bills, it's about maintenance costs, it is about topology, about building plans. This is what you need. You need to check them. You have to see whether they are actually correct or not. Visual tasks. Some installations are under or overplanned, and there is a certain risk involved. If you think about retrofit and you have an underplanned installation and you take down or reduce the light intensity of the lamp, then you're running a difficulty. So those are some things that you have to clarify before. You have to follow certain regulations and standards. For example, for interior areas. And those are the visual tasks that we have to map with our topology. So it needs to be consistent. We need to find out what illuminance level we need in which area. There are certain restrictions, and we also need to know more about the luminaire types, about the lighting types, about the lamp types as well, about the quantities and the qualities. And then there are also some technical preconditions, for example, operating units, ambient conditions, temperatures. Do I have increased temperatures, high temperatures, low temperatures? So those are all the aspects that you have to keep in mind when you want to make the right decision. After having done this audit or stock taking of your lighting installation, you have to take step 2. It's about the right planning. So you need a modernization strategy. There are different options on how to do that. We've got a one-to-one replacement. So this also includes your retrofit lamps, such as LED tubes, CFLs, or HIDs. And they can be used without changing the actual light or lamp. And then we've got the retrofit option, and then a certain options here involved as well. For example, conversion or AC operation or DC operation are possible here. For example, neo lights. Then we've got the LED retrofit kit. And we also distinguish 2 different categories. We've got the brand independent options, and we've got the customer specific options. There are certain versions of those retrofits, ones that can be used for existing lights, or others that are specifically designed for customers, for individual clients. And another topic here are brand-specific retrofit kits, where you have to, for example, just replace it with a spare part that is provided by the manufacturer. So those systems are compatible and work very well usually if you do retrofitting of these lights. Then last step is a bit more time-consuming, a bit more extensive. So it is the installation of a completely new lighting installation. So you replace the original lamp, and then you have to decide whether you just replace the light spot or whether you do a completely new redesign. So those are the options for our clients or for the operators, and you have to find the solution that is suitable for your installation or for your individual application. Then we've got a light management. That is something that you have to keep in mind for all the options. That's important for all the options. It is so important to reduce the energy consumption and also to increase comfort. If we take a look at the technical aspects, What we see on the next slide is like a small checklist. We've got a category which is the technical part of it. Then we've got the condition of the system, of the installation, and we've got the light quantity and also the distribution. So first thing is, what about the operating device, the control device? Normally, we've got different options here as well, different types here as well. High-frequency devices, for example, are not that compatible with LED lights. So if you replace them, you have to work with HF solutions that are provided by the manufacturers, but you have to be careful when using them. There are compatibility lists where you have to check whether the lamp is compatible with the ballast. And for large installations, I would advise you to have an expert have a look at it, to analyze that, because there are different ballasts. The ballast might have been changed, so you don't know about the age of the electronic ballast. So as soon as the ballast fails or breaks, you have to change something, or you have to change something about the light as well. And then there is a security risk if the ballast is not compatible with the lamp. So you have to be really careful here, and you have to really make sure that you follow the instructions provided by the manufacturer. Then there are other issues, such as, for example, emergency lighting operation, light control. Does it exist or not? What about the temperatures? I'm going to go into detail here as well. This is what people usually forget, to just measure the TC temperatures as soon as you've installed the light. This is a typical issue. For the first installation or for the sampling, you have to check whether the lamp is thermally compatible. Because if you are in a boundary area, then the electronic fails. The electronic components might fail pretty soon, or some types are just not compatible for the client's installation. Lighting technology. Do you have lights with reflectors or without reflectors? What about the reflection properties? What does a light source have to provide in order to really have the same distribution? It all has to do together. It has to do with the beam angle of the lights or the light source. What about glare? Do you have glare limiting measures? Because this might also be a problem with the retrofit kits. If you, for example, have installations where the lenses are visible, you just can't replace them with a new one. There are certain things that you have to keep in mind, because otherwise you might get in trouble from a technical perspective. Light quality, glare is an important quality criteria. It's so important to keep it in mind when you do your installation planning. And then, of course, we also got illuminance, measurement of the light intensity. Is the light even? Do you have evenly distributed in the room? Do you have dark zones or dark spots or very light zones in the room? General condition of the installation. This is another thing that you have to keep in mind, whether retrofitting is suitable for your installation or not. Because if the substance of the light is no longer able to bear a new light source, then you shouldn't retrofit it, because it doesn't make sense to replace all the components of a light, including the clamps and the sockets and the cables. You maybe should think about getting a new light instead then. But if the light technology is good, because we got numerous T5 lights in the markets that are not old, they are in a pretty good condition. They've got very great properties, great lighting management systems. So in this case, it doesn't make sense for the clients to throw them out. And it's also not, doesn't make sense from an ecological point of view, because this is a good and well-working light. This is also another thing if we think about retrofitting. You don't improve the entire situation if you install a brand new LED light, and after and you throw them away too soon, because Sustainability, of course, also has to be taken into account when you think about retrofitting. Replaceability of the components, a certain standard when it comes to the component, this is extremely important. And you can also read the other important points on my slide. I'm not going to go into detail here. Necessity of a sampling and sampling process in general. This is something that's very important, especially when we talk about large installations. Temperatures, measurement points at the ballast. I brought you a list here what to keep in mind, because this ensures a proper operation. So if you've done all the tests and if you've done all the testing, then the electronic components are also the most vulnerable parts in the installation. So you have to keep in mind that you check the temperatures, the operating modes, and the light intensity, the illuminance. You can do the same with sampling, with testing. You can measure the illuminance, the temperatures, and you can find out whether the retrofit kit or the replacement light offers you the right level of or the right light intensity that you need or that is actually required. Apart from that, insulation measurements are another option here, and this is important if you want to comply with the current standards. And the last one is clarifying legal aspects. I talked a lot about modernization and renovation and retrofitting. The question is, are you even allowed to do this? There is a clear, do you become the manufacturer if you do so? Well, from the ZVEI, we also launched a white paper on that. We're working on a new white paper on that. We actually wanted to present it yesterday, but unfortunately the team hasn't managed to complete it on due time. We've had 3 meetings this year already. This is a pity because I wanted to show it to you today. But this white paper includes all the answers to those questions, contains information about legal questions, legal issues. And here you find also reasonable answers, the right answers. Well, it's not superficial saying that it's never allowed or it's always allowed. So there are certain circumstances when you do the retrofitting where you become the manufacturers and other circumstances where you don't become the manufacturer. And this is something that you have to find out. The industry helps. And I am looking forward to the publishing of that white paper. Hopefully it will be published in April 2024, but we've already come a long way. So I'm pretty sure that it will be published in April. It's a very exciting document. I summarize the last steps. Step 3 to 5. What else do you have to keep in mind when you decide in favor of a technical, or when you have decided in favor of a technical solution? It's next step is financing. Focus should be on financing. How can you implement that? How can you realize that, especially for large installations? Not always that easy. If you take a look around public spaces, for example, nothing has changed for many years when it comes to lighting systems. After 25 years, I visited my school, and the lighting installation or the lighting system is still the same as it was 25 years ago. And I'm pretty sure it's not the only installation in Germany that hasn't been changed over decades. If you want to modernize the lighting system, this is very expensive, and you have to find a way to finance that. Of course, there is funding for that as well. You have to see what you have to keep in mind here if you want to apply for subsidies. Availability. What if an a lighting installation, the lighting system is about to fail and the replacement lights are no longer available? You have to inform yourself in due time at a very early stage already, because if the fluorescent lamps, if we run out of fluorescent lamps or if they fail, then we will have a huge demand. And some manufacturers will be overwhelmed by this huge demand. So some lights might no longer be available. This is also something they have to keep in mind. Next point on my list is availability, long-term availability of replacement parts, of spare parts. Are the spare parts still available? Are those standard parts or components that you can use for various installations? Maintenance and control, setting up a maintenance plan, electrical measurements, lighting measurements, technical measurements. And if you have taken into account all those aspects, or if you followed all those steps, then you have hopefully finally successfully implemented your modernization project. We've got a summary and an outlook on my last slide. Waiting is not an option anymore. Planning, also if the solution seems to be simple, and all the information is available. As you can see here, we got an online version of licht.wissen09, and we also got a printed version prepared for you. So thank you very much for your attention. And Jürgen, the floor is yours again.
Okay, microphone works. So